Let's begin the Realty Plus Conclave with the first session of the day on the topic Gujarat, Twin Cities, Emerging Growth Areas of Real Estate. The session will be chaired by Mr. Ravin, Bhojani, Senior Director, Advisory and Transaction Services, CBRE. He is a senior management professional and has a demonstrated history of working in various industries, skilled negotiation, budgeting and business planning, strong business development, and he has over 25 years in the sales, marketing, PR, leasing, branding, and business development experience in real estate funds, reality, and media, retail, and healthcare industry. May I please request Mr. Ravin Bhojani to please come over the stage. And introducing our speakers in alphabetical orders, ladies and gentlemen, may I please request Mr. Vadodaria, CEO, Nila Spaces Limited. Mr. Deep, with a problem-solving attitude, addresses complex issues in his own distinctive manner with his excellent operational and project execution skills. He is driving the company to new horizons. May I please request our next speaker, Mr. Kamal, Singhal, Managing Director and CEO of Smartspaces Limited. He has been associated with the Lal Bhai Group since 2001. Real estate veteran with 20 years of experience who looks after the execution of projects and has seen since Godwitt's inception developed close to 1.1 million square feet of industrial spaces. And he has previously worked with JLL in strategic consulting department and went on to head the industrial warehousing department. So can we have a huge round of applause for all the panelists on the stage? And now I request our moderator to please take over the proceedings. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. Today, we are starting off this conclave with a discussion with the panels where we have Gujarat Twin Cities, emerging growth areas and real estate. And you know, the first two cities that come to mind are Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, the twin cities, which have become the epicenter of a remarkable progress and transformation. The real estate industry in these cities present and of lucrative prospects for investors, developers, stakeholders alike. With the rapid expansion of urban areas and unparalleled development unfolding, Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar are poised to set the benchmark for thriving India for the forthcoming 25 years and so on. Talk points, I would open it up. The economic drivers that are majorly for Gujarat has been over the last few decades has been pharmaceutical and drugs, bulk drugs. We have auto and auto components. We have the textile, which was the initial industry when Gujarat started, and Ahmedabad was known as Manchester of India. Global banks in Gift City, which is the first smart city of India, and it is now thriving in a way that nobody had imagined post the pandemic. So these are the talk points. I would start off with a few points that are about the Ahmedabad per se, the market, the CBD, the old CBD, how Ahmedabad started merging the two sides of this city by the river Sabarmati, dividing it, and how the initial CBD started up and how it extended to the SBD over the mid-20s, 2020s and all. And today, even the PVD, including Gift City, is now becoming a landmark among all the new investments that are coming in. GIFT City is seeing attraction in a lot of industries like BFSI and NBFCs that are looking into and cashing on the setup that is available. The infrastructure initiatives that have been taken up by the government is quite good. The MHASR is coming in. That's Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail. Pioneering the project is set to revolutionize the transportation in India. We have the Ahmedabad metro rail that connects from the west to the east part, and it is already seeing that kind of, people are now getting used to using metro, and they are getting comfortable by, using these services along with the BRTS, other than using their own personal travel mode. GIFT City, Phase 2 and Phase 3, these upcoming projects hold tremendous potential in creating a vibrant, self-contained community, fostering a walk-to-work culture, and emerging as a private real estate hub within the city. Deep, I was just discussing earlier how he is coming up with his residential and how the kind of movement that he's seen in the last few months. Dholera, just like shared by Ms. Verma, is already a talk of the town. The Dholera International Airport, the Dholera city that's coming in, which is expected to handle around 50 million passengers per annum. So said and done, I would start off with a few questions. This would be better. So Deep, taking the cue from what we were discussing earlier before we got onto the panel, and how you said that there are certain, things that are happening within the city, and these twin cities are a thing that everyone is looking forward to. What specific factors have contributed in the remarkable growth and transformation of Gujarat, Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar in the recent years?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I believe infrastructure is one of the prime concerns that any individual, may it be commercial or may it be on the residential side, they all have. Historically, if you will look at it in the last decade and a half, Ahmedabad's done much, much better than what we're seeing across the country. So that is one big factor of it. When you talk about special areas like GIFT, where we're functional, it's completely different, because that's where infrastructure is already done up and development is now catching up. So that's a unique proposition, of course, and it has its advantages. And we're seeing the sort of traction in terms of sales, because there's demand. It's in the news, it's the current hype. And I was talking to you earlier that all of the sales that is coming into us is very, very robust, because as strategy, we don't sell units to anybody who's not backed by a home loan. So this is not speculative investment that we're talking about. We're talking about real investors with small fractions coming in to buy into the future of the city. And that's always very good to see. Apart from that, I believe on the whole course, if you look at these lovely townships that large developers have built, somebody like Adani, somebody like Godrej, Savi, and it's very difficult to build these communities, and they've invested their years and years together to put the infrastructure in place. And now, after all of these hard work, it's starting to look like a community. And I believe that whenever you started looking like a community, and that's when I think the real traction comes in.
So understanding that all these smart townships that are coming in as well, like Adani, Godrej, are now seeing a lot of traction with their residential sales as well. My question to you, Kamal sir, would be like, are there any specific areas or neighborhood within the Twin Cities that are experiencing and kind of an exceptional growth and demand in the real estate market?
Well, Arvind, Ahmedabad has been a little fortunate in many senses when it comes to real estate. I mean, I think it's going through its golden period in the last 20 years, and we haven't seen cities changing as much as Ahmedabad has done in the last 2 decades. As he said, Deep said, infrastructure of course is one thing, but I think there is a twin engine here working as well. One is the infrastructure side, which obviously created better spaces and that urge to buy better homes, etc., etc. But more than that, successive administrations have tried to bring in businesses into the city which were otherwise not there. I mean, automobiles, for example. We know traditionally textiles was there, drugs and pharmaceuticals was there, but then autos coming here. Gift is now getting into or chartering into territories which we never thought a decade back, and that is obviously going to be creating a all new ground up kind of demand and the client mix that we always talk about. In that sense, Ahmedabad has been getting very, very consistent kicks from time to time from real estate development point of view, and that way the north is doing great, south is doing great, west obviously is always the hero when it comes to Ahmedabad, as we know, but a lot of things are actually happening in the other parts as well. For example, we just heard a couple of days back one big deal happening on one of the old factory lands in east, and one of the major player has invested very significant amount there. That means even east is looking at that kind of attraction now, which earlier was a little less visible. But of course, at this point, all these townships as standalone demand hotspots, destination hotspots that they have created, along with southwest and northwest of the city obviously are doing the best. Of course, there are segments like weekend homes, etc., etc., and they are spread broadly in the western side only. Affordable is more towards east, etc. But the premium segment of the market between SG and SP highway, I think the amount of units which are being sold and the unit prices that we've seen in the last 3 to 6 months' time were not expected maybe a couple of years back. So great traction on premium in Ahmedabad, which everybody would have felt by this time.
I agree to that. In fact, I was in Bangalore a couple of days, and the kind of discussions that we had with the other developers over there, and they were amazed with the kind of price factors that have come into play within the Ahmedabad market. They were amazed to see that Ahmedabad could have that kind of infrastructure of residential and the price range that it has. So it was astonishing for them, and they were looking forward to now thinking about Ahmedabad as a market to come in and get their footprint in. Nilam sir, હું તમને એક સવાલ કરી સર. અત્યારે જે રીતના મેજર ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર પ્રોજેક્ટ્સ આવી રહ્યા છે, and they have played a significant role in the development, like rightly said by Kamal sir and Deep. How do you foresee that these specific commercial and industrial area sectors real estate marketમાં અને ગુજરાતમાં particularly our twin citiesમાં support કરશે, અને આપણી પાસે એવું infrastructure other than residential મौजूद છે સર?
ગુડ આફ્ટરનૂન એવરીવન. ટ્વિન સિટી ગુજરાત જે સબ્જેક્ટ છે એની વાત કરીએ તો ગુજરાતમાં ઘણા બધા સિટી ટ્વિન સિટી તરીકે ડેવલપ થઈ શકે એવો છે અને થઈ રહ્યા છે. અમદાવાદ ગાંધીનગર એનું એક ઉત્તમ ઉદાહરણ પૂરું પાડે છે. આપણે ગુજરાતના ટ્વિન સિટી જોઈએ તો અમદાવાદ ગાંધીનગર ઉપરાંત ભરૂચ અંકલેશ્વર, નડિયાદ આણંદ, વડોદરા હાલોલ કાલોલ, મહેસાણા કડી, મોરબી વાંકાનેર, સુરત નવસારી જેવા ટ્વિન સિટી છે. આપણે અમદાવાદ ગાંધીનગરની વાત કરીએ તો ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર ડેવલપમેન્ટના છેલ્લા 10 વર્ષમાં ઘણા બધા ડેવલપમેન્ટ સિટી કનેક્શનના માટેના થયેલા છે. અગાઉ આપણે ખાલી એસજી હાઈવે પર એક ઇન્ટરસિટી બસ અમદાવાદ ગાંધીનગરને જોડતી ઇન્ટરસિટી બસ હતી. હાલમાં આપણે જોઈએ તો અમદાવાદ ગાંધીનગરમાં એક એલિવેટેડ કોરિડોર થઈ ગયો છે, જે આપણે સરખેજથી ગાંધીનગર જુઓ તો 20 થી 25 મિનિટમાં પહોંચી શકીએ છીએ, જ્યારે પૂર્વના વિસ્તારમાં જતાં આપણને 45 મિનિટ થાય છે. સો ઇન્ટરસિટી કનેક્શન બાય એલિવેટેડ કોરિડોર, મેટ્રો રેલ પ્રોજેક્ટ જે વાસણા, જે સાઉથ સાઇડ ઓફ ધ અમદાવાદ છે, વાસણાથી તો છેક ગિફ્ટ સિટી સુધી, મહાત્મા મંદિર સુધી એને લઈ જવાનો પ્રોજેક્ટ છે, ફેઝ વાઇઝ સ્ટાર્ટ થઈ ગયા છે, વિચ ઇઝ ઓલ્સો ગુડ મોબિલિટી માટેનો એક ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ ડેવલપ થઈ રહ્યું ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર, જેમાંથી પબ્લિક એટ લાર્જને ટ્રાન્સપોર્ટ ઝડપી અને સસ્તું પડી રહ્યું છે, જે મોટાભાગના અમદાવાદ અને ગાંધીનગરના ઇન્ટરસિટી માટેના જે ટ્રાવેલ ટાઈમ ઘટી જાય છે એનાથી. ત્રીજું ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર છે રિવરફ્રન્ટ, સાબરમતી રિવરફ્રન્ટ ડેવલપમેન્ટ. અગેન એ વાસણાથી માંડી અને ગિફ્ટ સિટી સુધી એનો રિવરફ્રન્ટ ડેવલપ કર્યો છે. જે સિટીના રિયલ ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર ડેવલપમેન્ટ, બેટરમેન્ટ, ગાર્ડન વગેરે ડેવલપ થયું છે. અને એના બે સાઈડ, રિવરની બંને સાઈડ કનેક્ટિંગ રોડ પણ છે જે કોમ્યુનિટ થઈ શકે એવું છે, જે વાયા આપણા નજીક જ એરપોર્ટની નજીકથી થઈને જઈ રહ્યું છે. તો ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર એટલું બધું ડેવલપ થઈ ગયું છે કે જે આપણે કનેક્ટિવિટીને લીધે બંને સિટી ઘણી સારી રીતે ડેવલપ થયેલા છે.
Thank you, sir. Taking from that, Nirav, you have been into this city for years, and you have seen how city has grown, and you have played a pivot role in that as well during your tenure. What are the prospects in terms of future growth and investment potential that lies? Because understanding from Kamal sir and Deep, there is certain sectors of the city which are definitely seeing that boost, from the weekend homes to gift city. But overall, how do you foresee for the next 5 years the investment growth prospect for the city?
Good afternoon, everybody. So, just to pick up on that point that your opening remark was, the biggest change which has come to this city over the years, let's say 20 years ago, this place was known only for manufacturing, which is pharmaceuticals, engineering and things like that. What has happened in the last 10 to 15 years is that services have started coming, whether it is BFSI or IT or anything of that sort. Now any city, for it to thrive, you need both services and manufacturing. Now is the time when we are kind of excelling in both of them. So you look at Pune. Pune has services, Pune has manufacturing. You look at Bangalore, it has services, manufacturing. You look at Chennai, services, manufacturing. So we are now going to compete with the Punes, Bangalores and Chennais of the world. So that's where we are headed to. Yeah? We're no longer going to be a predominantly manufacturing centered city. And this will bring in a lot of people from outside the city to these places. I know a lot of people who over the years have come to Ahmedabad from other places and never left. People will keep talking, saying that, alcohol is not there, there's prohibition. But none of these people have gone back. They're saying that life is so great here that I just don't want to go back to my hometown. I know at least 20 people who came here and have done that.
I'm one of them.
So to pick up on that, essentially wherever there is manufacturing happening in the city and wherever there is services which are centered in, these are going to be the investment destinations in the city. So like everybody knows, it's a no-brainer. Gandhinagar and GIFT is where services are being habitated, and this is where essentially service-oriented people would continue to be based at. So you will need residential, commercial, retail, all, and hospitality, of course, as essential support infrastructure for the service industry. Whereas manufacturing, over the years, what has happened is corridors have developed. So, Changodar has essentially been a corridor where pharma industry and some of the engineering industry went. Sanand is predominantly auto, and nowadays a lot more industries are coming in. So these two corridors will now see a lot more growth. So, and essentially the kind of people that are going to buy real estate or invest in real estate there are going to be very, very different from the ones which are going to buy real estate in Gandhinagar or surrounding GIFT. So you'll need affordable housing in Sanand, you'll need affordable housing in, let's say, Godhavi and areas like that. That will support the manufacturing activity which is going to happen in Sanand, Changodar, etc. Another thing which is going to happen in a big way, and essentially if you look at all cities in India, there was a core in the city where the city started developing, and then it is always outward. For the first time in our history, we have forced people to look inward with the riverfront development. So now people are willing to look at, you know, not just going out, but coming back to the center of the city to come and invest. So everything which is going to be along the riverfront will have a lot more investment value going forward because of the project that has, just one project which has transformed the center of the city, and it has forced people to look inwards rather than outwards. So I think these are the areas where investment potential exists for this city.
Thank you, Nirav. So I would say it's time for you guys who have not invested, let's look for investment. I'm looking forward to Deep's project. Let's see, because he says it's funded by the bank. I mean, nobody can get an apartment until it's been kind of funded by the bank. So I'll connect with you, Deep, for that. Nilam bhai, coming to the point from Nirav bhai's take on investment and the inward movement where, you know, Sabarmati Riverfront is now excelling and supporting the infrastructure that is already in place. How has your experience been, Credai tarike, with the support from all the authorities, and how do you foresee that could be a way forward for, you know, quick turnaround time for developers such as Deep, Kamal sir and everyone?
Yeah, good question. અમદાવાદ અને ગાંધીનગરના ટ્વિન સિટીના ડેવલપમેન્ટની વાત કરીએ તો ક્રેડાઈ પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂ જે ગુજરાત એકચ્યુઅલી દરેક સિટી માટેની જરૂરિયાત છે. રિવરફ્રન્ટની વાત કરીએ સ્પેસિફિક તો ત્યાં આગળ અત્યારે અમદાવાદ એએમસી દ્વારા રિવરફ્રન્ટ ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્રોજેક્ટમાં રિઝર્વ પ્લોટના ઓપ્શન્સ કરવાના પ્લાનિંગ ચાલી રહ્યા છે. સો આઈ વુડ રાધર લાઈક કે ભાઈ એ જલ્દી ઓપ્શનનો પ્રોસેસ થાય. એકવાર પ્રોસેસ થઈ ગઈ હતી જે સમાવ પીક નહોતા થયા, પણ અત્યારે રિગર્સલી એ થાય તો સિટીના ઇનર સાઇડમાં જે સાહેબે કીધું એ પ્રમાણે કે આઉટવર્ડની સાથે ઇનવર્ડ પણ ફ્લો થાય અને સિટીનો જે ડેન્સિટી જે છે એ વધારે એચિવેબલ છે તો ત્યાં સુધી સ્ટેજ સુધી એ એચિવ કરે, અને જેથી કરીને ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર પર લોડ નવા એક્સપાન્ડ થતા દૂરના એરિયામાં ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચરની કોસ્ટ પણ ઓછી થઈ શકે ઓથોરિટી લેવલે. તો ફાસ્ટ એ પ્રમાણેના ઓપ્શન્સ કરી અને એના બાયલોઝ અલગ છે એ પણ પ્રોડ્યુસ કરી અને ફાસ્ટ કરવા જોઈએ. બીજું ઓવરઓલ ડેવલપર પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂ વાત કરીએ તો સરકાર દ્વારા ટોલ બિલ્ડિંગ પોલિસી ગુજરાત લેવલે પ્રમોટ કરવામાં આવી છે, વિચ ઇઝ વેરી નાઇસ એન્ડ એક્સલન્ટ પોલિસી. અને એ સમગ્ર ગુજરાતના દરેક સિટીમાં 30-40 માળના બિલ્ડિંગ રિસ્પેક્ટિવ પ્લોટ સાઇઝ અને રોડ વિથ પ્રમાણે છે. તો એ ટોલ બિલ્ડિંગ પોલિસી પ્રમાણે દરેક સિટીમાં 30-40 માળના બિલ્ડિંગ શક્ય બન્યા છે. પણ એક ચેલેન્જ અમે ફેસ કર્યા છે ક્રેડાઈ તરફથી કે એ પ્લાન પાસ કરાવવા હોય તો લોકલ ઓથોરિટી એટલે સુરત હતો સુડા, અમદાવાદ હતો ઓડામાં પ્લાન પાસ ઇન્વર્ટ કરવા પડે છે. એ ફાઇલ જાય છે સરકાર લેવલે, સ્ટેટ ગવર્મેન્ટ લેવલે, અને તેની અપ્રુવલ આવ્યા પછી આપણી સ્ક્રુટિનાઇઝ થઈ અને બિલ્ડિંગ પાસની પ્રોસેસ થઈ રહી છે. અમદાવાદ અને ગુજરાતના સિટીમાં 30-40 માળના મકાનની પરમિશન ટૂંક સમયમાં જ આપવામાં આવી છે, પણ એ સિવાયના રાષ્ટ્રના ઘણા શહેરોમાં આ પ્રમાણે 30-40 માળના મકાન તો વર્ષોથી બને છે. એટલે ગુજરાતમાં આ પ્રકારના પ્લાન પાસ કરવામાં લોકલ ઓથોરિટી દ્વારા પ્લાન પાસ કરવામાં આવે તો વધુ ઝડપી પ્લાન પાસ થઈ શકે છે, વિચ ઇઝ કાઇન્ડ ઓફ ઇઝ ઓફ ડુઈંગ બિઝનેસ, અને આપણે પ્લાન બિલ્ડિંગ વધારે જલ્દી ડેવલપ કરી શકીએ છીએ. ઘણા બધા બીજા ચેલેન્જીસ છે કે એને પરમિશન આપણે ત્યાં ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્લાન અને ટીપીસ્કામના ધોરણે ગુજરાતમાં એક જ મોડેલ છે કે જેમાં આ પ્રમાણેનું ડેવલપમેન્ટ છે. આખા દેશમાં આ પ્રકારના ટીપી સ્કીમ પ્રમાણેનું કામ નથી થતું. આપણે ત્યાં થાય છે 40% કપાત લીધા પછી પણ આપણે એને પરમિશન ડ્રાફ્ટ ટીપી સ્કીમ વગેરે માટે રાહ જોવી પડે છે. તો ડીમ એને એક એવું છે કે જે ડીમ એને તરીકે જે ટીપી સ્કીમ હોય એમાં ડીમ એને મળી જાય તો જલ્દી ડેવલપમેન્ટ થઈ શકે. ફાસ્ટર ડેવલપમેન્ટ માટેની વાત છે, ગ્રોથ વધી શકે છે. ટાઉન પ્લાનિંગ સ્કીમ ડ્રાફ્ટ થયા પછી ફાઇનલ લેવલે 10 વર્ષ, 15 વર્ષ, 18 વર્ષ સુધી ફાઇનલ મોડમાં નથી આવતી. ત્યાં સુધી ડેવલપર્સે અથવા અધર સિટીઝન્સની જે જમીન છે એમાં નાણાં કેપિટલ ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ રોકાયેલને પડી રહે છે અને ડેવલપ થતી નથી જમીન. ફાસ્ટર ડેવલપમેન્ટ માટે અમારે ક્રેડાઈ તરફથી એટલી રજૂઆત પણ છે કે જલ્દીથી ટીપી સ્કીમ ડ્રાફ્ટ થયેલી મંજૂર કરે અને એ એરિયામાં ડેવલપમેન્ટ ફાસ્ટ થઈ શકે છે. આ એક બીજો એક અમારું માગણી છે. હાલમાં સરકાર દ્વારા 2024નો ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્લાન રજૂ કરવાની તજવીજ ચાલુ થઈ છે, જે અમદાવાદ અને ગાંધીનગર માટેની છે. ટ્વિન સિટીની વાત છે એટલે આ માટે હું દ્રષ્ટાંત પૂરું પાડીશ. ટ્વિન સિટીમાં અમદાવાદ ગાંધીનગર બંનેનો જોઈન્ટ ડેવલપમેન્ટ પ્લાન સરકાર વિચારી રહી છે, વિચ ઇઝ અ ગુડ પાર્ટ, ગુડ ઇનિશિયેટિવ કે ભાઈ બંને એક સાથે મર્જ થઈ અને એનું પ્લાન કોહેસિવ પ્લાનિંગ થઈ શકે અને ઝડપી થઈ શકે. રિંગ રોડ આપણે ત્યાં અમદાવાદમાં એસપી રિંગ રોડ બન્યો છે, ગાંધીનગરમાં બી ડીપીમાં એક રિંગ રોડ પ્રપોઝ થયેલો છે, નવો 24માં એક નવો 90 મીટરનો રિંગ રોડ અમદાવાદની ફરતે આવી રહ્યો છે. સો ઇટ બી ઓલ મર્જ, રિંગ રોડથી બંને સિટી મર્જ થઈ જશે એટલે ડેવલપમેન્ટ સારા થઈ શકશે. એ પણ વધારે ઝડપી 24માં થઈ જાય તો અમદાવાદ વધારે, ગાંધીનગર વધારે સારી રીતે ડેવલપ થઈ શકે. ધીસ ઇઝ વોટ વી આર પ્રપોઝિંગ ઓર વિચારી રહ્યા છે કે આ થઈ શકે.
So you have identified two challenges, Chair, and you have already presented to the authorities as to how to go about it, and authorities are cooperating and giving you that support, if we are to understand. Am I getting it right?
Yeah, authorities definitely try to support some. એ લોકોના આ એક મેં કીધું ટોલ બિલ્ડિંગ પોલિસી છે તો ઇઝીલી એ રિઝોલ્વ થઈ શકે એવું છે, ટાઈમ ઇઝ ઓફ ડુઈંગ બિઝનેસ અને ટાઈમ સેવિંગ થઈ શકે એવું છે. વી હેવ પ્રેઝન્ટેડ ધ ઇસ્યુ અને હોપ કે ટૂંક સમયમાં એ લોકો એ પ્રમાણેનું આપણને મંજૂરી સ્ટેટ ઓથોરિટી, લોકલ ઓથોરિટીથી આપે.
Thank you, Nilam bhai. Deep, coming back to you, with regards to the infrastructures and the twin cities and how the ring roads are developing, and you are coming with a real estate residential project within GIFT City. How has the residential properties within the city, both the twin cities and GIFT City, changed with regards to what are the factors that has influenced the shift, and how have you changed your way to meet up to that kind of development?
So I believe Ahmedabad city and GIFT city completely separate because of the infrastructure and the quality of infrastructure that GIFT city provides. So again, I'll repeat that it's a unique proposition in which infrastructure is in place and development is catching up. While if you see anywhere in the country, including Ahmedabad, it's the development that is pushing and then the infrastructure is always playing catch up. So you would have developers going out and, like he was talking about weekend homes. Now, basic amenities for his weekend homes, you're constantly struggling with the civic authorities to bring it there because they are like bare minimums. So I think there needs to be some amount of dialogue and some plans which needs to be shared. I'm sure that's happening at multiple level and government is trying to do whatever that they can. Just to give everybody an example, I think we get a very big reality check, something like what happened last week, 3 hours of rain, and in the costliest areas of Ahmedabad, you couldn't put your vehicle out. Now, whose fault is it? Nobody is blaming anybody. It's the thing is that there needs to be some amount of dialogue. There needs to be some common ground. Unfortunately, the civic body is not checking the finished floor levels of the developers and the new developments. I'm not saying it's developers' fault. Against that, the government is non-committal about how many times they are going to resurface the road. As a developer, I want to protect my building. So my finished floor level, I am always going to target much higher. What is the result of that? You are seeing the same problem that we've seen for 2 decades, where there's waterlogging because everything's coming to the road. The road has network, the road has infrastructure, but definitely not enough to take care of all of these. Unless these are areas that they work closely with the developers to scale it up. I don't think this can match the speed of growth that we really need in Ahmedabad sort of city. You definitely don't want to end up becoming a dysfunctional city like Bangalore, sorry to say this, but where infrastructures potentially never lived up to the sort of development that is happening.
Yeah, I agree to that. I had a worse experience yesterday in Bangalore where I was stuck for 45 minutes just at the same point and with no movement. So the infrastructure is playing a key role. That's one of the reasons you decided to put in your residential in GIFT City?
Yes, that is also there. Again, the community is there. I mean, currently in Gift City, there is no community, but eventually, as he said, it's push bike services. You're going to have more number of people coming in. We are seeing this influx of people coming in from various parts of the country. And it's not because Gujarat does not really have talent. Unfortunately, most of the Gujaratis don't want to work. So that is another problem that recruitment agencies here deal with. And so we get a lot of diversity. There are a lot of diverse areas that we are interested in. So any of the townships which has a lot of diversity, a community built. So all infrastructure that is getting built in Ahmedabad sort of places are going to now be diverse. You look at Shela sort of areas which have now developed into a very, very diverse locality. And I believe that's the sort of localities that will attract buyers, not just your old ways of selecting which house to buy.
Sure, I agree. Kamal sir, in continuation to what Deep just said and how the situation has unfolded over the last week with regards to the infrastructure or the setup that it was creating a problem of waterlogging and the developers had to come in. What are the measures been taken to assure that kind of a sustainable and eco-friendly development that has been taken care by the developers as well? See, we do agree that authorities have to come in and do their thing, and they are. So like Deep said, Bangalore did not expect that kind of a euphoria of, influx of, projects coming in. So as being the Twin Cities, and you have been in the industry as well, what are the kind of, again, sustainable and eco-friendly measures have been taken by you as a developer?
Sure. So yeah, we'll come to sustainability, but one thought comes to my mind, and Rishabh bhai thoda sunne jaisa hai, and this idea comes to me while sitting here and talking with all of you, especially in the context of Twin City, we said. Now, Ahmedabad, if you really analyze 3 decades, one which is gone, one which is currently happening, and the next one, maybe the decade which has already gone belong to the BRTS of the world, riverfront of the world, and West developing, SG highway happening, etc., and it has brought in great amount of results. The whole TP mechanism, I think this is very, very unique thing. Only in this city that such planning and such systems exist. And they broadly don't get influenced by vested sort of interests. And that's why the city is taking the kind of shape that it is taking. So that's the previous decade. Possibly the current decade belongs to Deep, Gift, and stuff like this. You are at the right time, right place, in the right decade. If things keep moving the way they are moving, I think this will become one of those inflection points where a lot of things can happen. The city has a great potential. There are some mental blocks in terms of liquor, this and that, and weather. But I think once things settle down, the other day I was in a place called Miami. Believe you me, it was a pathetic place. It was hot, it was humid, and it was not worth moving out. But it's that aura, it's that talk, it's that marketing that everybody would have created behind this very consciously. It's not, possibly it has not happened just like that. It has been very, very consciously cultivated, and that's how that perception and impressions have come, that a hell is being kind of labeled as a heaven. I mean, three months of hell at least.
It's how you market.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, even we have 9 good months, right? I mean, 3 months are bad everywhere on this earth, most of the times. So this is current is great, and the push that currently we have in the form of Gift and equivalent projects are great. But the definition of Twin City should change in the coming decade. That is very important. So Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar should rather be, from now itself and surely from next decade onwards, should be called as one city with 2 names, not 2 cities which are twins. It actually, if you really see and travel between these 2 cities through any major road, it's one city already, right? And it has 2 names. That's how it should be taken. And the coming decade, it should rather be talked in the sense of Mumbai and Ahmedabad being twin cities. And it's very much possible. It is happening. And the next decade then belongs to something like a bullet train or a 10,000 athletes of the world coming to our city, playing, staying, and you understand what I'm saying. So next decade really is centered around 2 or 3 such very, very big pulls, which will possibly make Mumbai and Ahmedabad as twin cities. People will travel. I mean, 2 hours of travel by a train is outskirts of New York. You go, shop 2 hours, come back, right? It's like that. And this is happening. This is the trend. So if you want to invest, somebody said invest looking at this. Sabarmati is this, that, all that is already factored into the prices, and Deep is charging a premium for this, and I am charging a premium for this already. But don't worry about it. These prices are rock bottom in any case, because what you need to do is to look ahead the coming decade, which is making Mumbai and Ahmedabad as twin cities, and not Ahmedabad and Ghaziabad. It's already a city. One city is already aggregated in that sense. Coming back to your sustainability question, yeah, sustainability is obviously supposed to be, has to be, there is no option but to be given the topmost priority by every developer. We carry a very, very special responsibility as a group, as a community. At Arvind, we are very, very conscious about it. Fortunately, it comes from our genes where some of the best innovations in terms of sustainability has come from our group. In other businesses, of course, which is textiles and brands and apparel, etc. Some very innovative things have come out. In real estate, we are doing quite a few things. In fact, I heard quite a few townships, but you might not be aware that Arvind is doing the maximum number of townships in the city under the township framework, and we have 3 of them. But they are broadly horizontal. They are villas and infrastructured villas kind of thing. They are not very close to the city, but they are still some of the best in their class. And there we've taken a lot of care about sustainability. For example, we are just coming out with common charging points in a township, and with the kind of population, I mean, our 150 odd acres will have some 300, 400 villas. That's about it. That's the township. Water conservation, affluent treatment, and I mean, we know what is required out of us. It's about transparently and honestly implementing and executing those kind of things which are already existing in the framework. And once those are done, they really make a great kind of sense. We've seen the problems being faced. I know the traffic congestion that we've talked about, the waterlogging that we talked about in the context of Bangalore and cities like that. But water scarcity, it is not something which is a short-term issue. It has not cropped up in last few years. It is spanning decades and decades together. And will you believe that sometimes in a few projects, 30 to 40% of total water requirement for the development work is coming through tankers. There is no water. The societies are getting ready and people have started living. There is nothing, there is no visibility of where the water will come from in 500 apartments that one would have delivered and 1,500 people who are moving in maybe next 3 to 4 months time, and tankers are the only way. So sustainability is an extremely important thing. We are all doomed if it is not taken care, and we are absolutely aware of the fact that developers have a very special role to play, and water conservation in my mind is one of the most important priorities.
Absolutely, I agree with. Water has been a main cause of problem across the globe, not only in Ahmedabad or Gujarat per se or India. But again, coming back to the real estate market response in the needs and the way you have developed certain projects which are becoming a marquee in the residential villa projects. How do you foresee that the market will still go on with that kind of a development, or there will be a certain change in it?
No, if you're talking about premium segment of houses which are little away from the city, but nevertheless they can be used as first home, maybe within a span of 2 years to 5 years from acquisition, that market is great, and that is happening across the country. The markets that we are operating like Mumbai, like Pune, or even Bangalore. Bangalore is predominantly, for example, a IT professional driven market, but even there people have now developed a very, very specific liking for these kind of houses. This market has just entered into some sort of an inflection, and we see very, very clear preference for these houses. I mean, the world over, there has been one CBD, lot of high rises there. So when you fly into a city, you see lot of high rises. But then beyond that, those 3, 4, 5, 10 kilometers apart in terms of diameter, then you see a lot of townhouses, a lot of villas, a lot of golf courses and stuff like that. I think India is following that trend. People have now realized that there are two different lifestyles. One is the high rise, the other is a villa. Both have their own pros and cons. And this one is now picking up fast and really, really rapidly.
Agree. The suburbs are the new parts of residential. And coming back to the CBD, Nirav sir, my question to you is, how do you foresee, because that's one of my key interests as well, the commercial business or the commercial development that is coming across the Twin Cities and Gift City per se has already seen that kind of attraction within the IFSC. How do you foresee that are there any emerging established commercial hubs within the Twin Cities other than Gift? And has that been a point of investment or a point of diversion of these investors to go into that hubs? And which are these hubs?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So you took away my first point, saying that GIFT is going to be the investment hub as far as commercial real estate is concerned. But if we keep GIFT apart, I think if you look at the way the city has grown, in the 80s, the commercial hub of the city was on Ashram Road. Then it moved to CG Road in 90s, and then it was SG Highway. So I think the city is moving that direction every decade. So so I think today the way the infrastructure is coming up in the city and the way the growth is aligned, my take, and this is completely my take, is anywhere on the ring road is a good bet. Today, I know the ring road has its own challenges, but eventually these will have to be resolved in terms of traffic coming on directly to it. It will become an access controlled ring road. And the moment you do that, any commercial real estate anywhere on the ring road is going to be a winner. Other than that, we still need commercial real estate in places like, very, very nascent development of commercial real estate happens in places like Sanand, where a huge amount of industrial investment is coming up. All of these need support offices. They need insurance companies to be there. They need banks to be there. They need transport companies. All of these need offices. Today, there are none. So that is something that all these upcoming industrial areas will need. Of course, GIFT. And for the city's needs, it's going to be the ring road. The biggest challenge in doing commercial real estate in Ahmedabad, and I kind of pulled all my hair off while I was in
Join the
JLL,
club.
was that the entire commercial real estate market is designed as built to sell. And unlike a Pune or a Bangalore or even Chennai for that matter, it's not designed to build to lease. Today, if you get a leasing requirement of 25,000 square feet, you would be at your wit's end to negotiate with 10 people, or each having 2,500 square feet of office space. How the hell do you think you're going to manage that? So I think the developers in the city will have to take a look at it, that instead of strata selling these offices, it makes sense to lease it and then flip it off as an investment sale, whether as a single individual, or there are entities like strata which will pick up fractional ownership in that building. So we will have to look at new innovative models of building commercial real estate rather than just looking at where it's being built. It's the challenge is in the build to sell versus build to lease.
I agree with you on that, and we have experienced it over the due course of time as well, that how commercial business has picked up in the last 18 months, and how many IT companies and service industry companies have come into the city. The infrastructure is supporting, but yes, the strata sale is one of the concern that has been going on for quite some time within the Ahmedabad market per se, and how couple of developers that I personally know have changed their mindset of not doing the strata sale, and they are creating that kind of a benchmark for others to also replicate that. So looking into the way Twin Cities are growing, my take from this would be Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar are a city, what Kamal sir said, one city with two names, and it has a potential to grow. all across and all the 4 directions. We are seeing from outward to inward coming in and development happening within the city as well. And Deep is gung-ho about Gift City, so am I, and the way Nilam sir said that the government authorities are in course with Credai, and they are working hand in hand to get that kind of support been given to the developers like Kamal sir and all the other developers coming in. So putting that aside, I would like open up the floor, and I would like anyone from the audience, he or she would have any questions to to our panelists. We have just a minute left. If we have any of the questions, they will be more than happy to answer. Do we?
I'm Shakti from Enlight. I just wanted to know, Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, Twin City market which you're saying is more of residential or commercial, or what's the mix, what's the percentage ratio, how you're looking? Is there a shift happening that commercial is taking off, or we are still facing the challenge which you rightly said, 2,500 square feet and somebody asking for 20? So what's the state we are in? Is that inflection point come in, or still a while for that point to come in?
So, Nirav, would you want to answer that?
So, I think it's not predominantly residential. I would say 2 key drivers are commercial and industrial real estate. And then residential, commercial, retail, hospitality, all of these comes as support to the economic activity. So the core to developing any city is the economic activity in that city. We are not a retirement city. We are a thriving city where economic activity is the core to the city. And the focus has to be that. That is when the city will grow. And the residential, retail, commercial, hospitality is all support infra. So predominantly commercial for services and industrial real estate. These are the 2 key drivers. Rest is all support.
I hope it answered your question. So thank you everyone for your valuable insights. It has been a great interaction, though we were running against time. And I extend my greatest and sincere gratitude to the panel. It has been a wonderful pre and panel discussion, and I look forward to engaging with you on one-on-one during our due course of the year. We would also like to express our heartfelt condolence, appreciation to Realty Plus for organizing this enlightening session and kicking it off with a wonderful panel such as yours. And once again, we thank you everyone, and looking forward to connecting with you offline as well.
Thank you.
That was indeed an insightful session. Thank you, everybody. And a token of appreciation from our side, from Realty Plus, I request Mr. N. Mahesh, Joint General Manager from or LIC Housing Finances Limited, to please step up and give a token of appreciation and memento to all of our speakers. Can we have the mementos, please, on the stage? Mr. Ravin, Senior Director, Advisory and Transaction Services, CBRE. Please step forward. Wonderful moderator.